Now, there is a massive shift starting to happen on YouTube and with content in general. And I think if you're a community builder on the likes of Skool, or you're a coach and you're planning on using YouTube to grow your business in 2026, then you might want to pivot, because there's one type of content and one particular format that is on the rise again, which has taken many of us by surprise because we thought it was going the opposite direction, but it's actually not. And I think it's a good thing, because this is actually much better for your conversions and growing your business. Now, that new type of video that is on the rise, that format that is starting to come back up again in quite high numbers towards the end of 2025, is long form YouTube videos. And not just long form on YouTube itself, we're seeing long form growing again across all platforms. There's a reason TikTok is starting to make videos longer and giving people the option to make longer videos. And we're seeing this rise maybe coming as a rebellion against AI, or people getting tired of certain types of high-paced editing formats. But regardless of the reasons, it's actually on a significant rise. And now 73% of all watch time on YouTube is made up of long-form content. So it's a dramatic shift from the end of 2025 and going into 2026. So people are starting to really start to consume more long form content. Now, shorts are overall getting more views, but that makes sense. It's short form content, it's playing on a loop, and every loop counts as a view. But overall, long form is starting to come back into play. So shorts, yes, are getting more views. They're a great way to build brand awareness, but we are seeing the shift back towards long form content as well. And I think this is people moving back across to a format that they feel more comfortable with. They actually like to lock in with. But I think there's other reasons why, and I'm going to get to those in just a moment. But the idea of shorts was always that you would have these and they would build more brand awareness. They were an easier way for you to get more views and more subscribers, so you could grow your business quicker. But it was more vanity metrics, because what happened later on was that we just noticed that they didn't really cross over to long form content. And even when you see on the YouTube within how they plan on you using it, and the idea is that people are consuming short form and long form, and there's a different purpose for short form. It's a bit like the entry drug into your channel, where people watch a little bit and maybe they then want to watch more. But what happened was that this did not happen. We didn't see that crossover. It just did not cross over that well. People that came to watch short form weren't always interested in watching long form. They were probably more interested in watching TikTok and shorts on YouTube than they were watching long form content. And also, as YouTube was pushing more shorts content, they started to take away views from your long form content. And that started to feed back into the short form content. And people started to complain that their long form videos weren't doing as well, or they weren't getting the normal amount of views that they used to get since they started using short form content. So this didn't really play nice. And we realized that potentially short form and long form were two separate audiences. But everybody saw the rise of short form, and it actually makes YouTube a lot of money. So they wanted to heavily go into it. But they're starting to change their mind a bit, and we're seeing a variety of reasons why. And we can see the features that YouTube are starting to invest in, that they realize that there's a shift here, and that they tend to focus where their energy, where the money goes. So where the money starts to focus on, YouTube tends to move in that particular direction more. Now, if you look at people like Neil Patel, he's obviously massive influencer in this space. He makes predictions, and he's been talking about that he thinks that this rise is that people are tired of fast-paced editing. And I think he's probably right. I think people are tired of this high-paced editing, especially in short-form content. It's quite overwhelming, and people are just getting a bit burnt with that. But I also think that it's a rebellion against AI, because I've been on short-form content on YouTube recently, and I've pretty much stopped watching it because there's just so much fake AI content that you don't know what's real, and you just sort of tune out. Even the sort of cat videos I used to watch, or other sort of more playful videos that were the funny animal videos especially, they're now fake. They're not real. They're all sort of animated because people don't want to get done for copyright, so therefore they're creating original content on AI. So most of shorts, and even the features within YouTube itself, the AI features, they're geared up towards helping Shorts creators use AI content more. So I think Shorts are just going to fill up with more and more AI content. And Shorts generally aren't that great for conversions anyways. But I think another massive reason that people haven't really spoken about enough, I have seen Neil Patel do a recent video. I think his most recent video is speaking on this, and I've seen a few other people picking up on it. But we've definitely not been speaking to this enough, and that's that TV views are massively on the rise on YouTube. YouTube is now literally the #1 streaming service in the world. Over Netflix and everything else. It is the #1 streaming service, and a huge amount of views are shifting from normal television and streaming services as well onto YouTube itself. So even news channels are moving to YouTube. They're getting more views on YouTube than they are people watching live on TV. So therefore, the way that we consume media has shifted, and it's shifting heavily towards YouTube. And that means that all of the ad money, more importantly, is moving towards YouTube. And it's really interesting because we're currently getting over 1 billion hours daily. So that's 1 billion hours daily of viewing on TVs. TVs alone for YouTube. So that's 1 billion hours daily worldwide. People are watching YouTube on TV. And it now makes up approximately 14% of all US TV viewings. So I've actually even noticed on my channel about 15% of my viewers are watching on TV now. So this is massively increasing, and people are not going to want to watch short form content on TV. They're just not. So although people are watching less shorts, they're starting to watch more long form again, but now they're obviously watching the long form on the TV, TV is pushing long form up on it even more. So that's why we're seeing this rapid growth, is because TV is elevating it. People want longer videos. So people like longer view times on videos. They want longer, they don't want to keep changing. It's more difficult on a TV to sort of flick through things and change things. We can't do it like we have a screen where we've got the dopamine just scrolling. I don't like this, speeding it up. On TV, it's different. People want to sit back and just watch it. So, with that said, long form is probably where it's at. And it's actually a good thing, as I said, because long form is better for building trust. People get to watch more of your content, so they're more likely to take an action faster. Obviously, if people have to watch a couple of hours of your content to potentially sign up for your community, then that would mean that you'd have to watch huge amounts of short form videos. So we can actually get them to watch a lot more of our content by doing long form. So people are tired of the fast types of editing, so therefore this means we can do more authentic, simple types of one-take videos. We don't have to do high-paced editing. We can actually make simpler videos. We can edit ourselves without needing a professional editor. And there's so many tools that can do most of the editing for you now that bring in some AI effects and editing to make it easier for you. But we can just make sure that the editing is extremely simple. And you can bring in a simple B-roll, and we're not doing the fancy stuff anymore. So this is great for us because that means that we can do much simpler types of editing. And because people want longer types of videos, we can speak more, we can go longer. We don't have to try and cut them down to make every single minute count because we're worried that people are going to get bored and leave. People are actually wanting more content, slower pace now. And on average in TVs, we'll get to that in a second, the average used to be about 8 to 12 minutes. And now it's 20 to 30 minutes for a long form video. So especially because of TV's pushing up to about 30. So people actually like to watch longer, even longer than on their computer for long form. So we're seeing long form videos getting pushed up and getting absolutely much, much longer. So I've noticed that the average long form video is getting much longer. You may have noticed this yourself as well. And then content that could be watched on TV, you've got to start thinking about this behavior. What are people going to want to watch? What type of content, what sort of conversational types of content or more relaxed, lean back types of content can you make? So lean back types of content, this is the type of content where maybe you don't have to think as much. You don't have to do any action. So, for example, it might be a bit more theory than it will action. So that's why I'm seeing a lot more viral videos around theory, people just sitting and talking versus actually doing a thing. So for example, if you've got a fitness channel, maybe you're going to do more stuff talking about the theory behind it, the health side, things you need to do, hacks for eating and so on, but stuff that you don't need to implement right now. So rather than a 10-minute workout that you have to implement, which I'm sure some people would do in front of the TV doing exercise, but we're definitely seeing more of the theory side of type of content, the lean back and sit in your chair type of content. So we want to think about that. You don't have to necessarily change your content completely, but you do want to start thinking about that type of content, because tapping into TV may be the next big format, or especially making your long form content do both. So if long form is on the rise and TV is on the rise, then this is a real good opportunity for us to expand our authority and to make our flywheel between our content and our community or our coaching business, where we can show our authority, we can speak to people directly, and we can build that connection on YouTube and then get them to come through for the next step, the next stage. But we also have to think about on TV, how are we going to do that? So maybe you want more QR codes and so on to be able to get people to be able to just scan with their phone and then join your community on their phone, and then take the next steps doing that inside their phone while they're watching your videos. So I think this long form revival is going to be a great opportunity for many of us in 2026. Now, if you would like more help growing your community with YouTube, I will link to our free group in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.